It's Eden. Just going live for a little while tonight. I'm not going to keep you up too long, but I did see something in my news feed a little bit earlier that I thought was worth talking about. So come on in if you're still up. This one's for my night owl passionators. But I'll be talking about what I named this video. You got what you wanted, then you didn't want what you got. Because it's such a common problem in relationships in general. So come on in if you'd like to talk about it. Let me know if you can hear me or not. I'm not sure about, I had a few technical difficulties a little bit earlier. So if you can let me know if you hear me and if you can see me okay. It looks like everything is clear, but I'm still not quite sure, and it is pretty late. But what I really wanted to talk about was expectations. We have them anyway, right? We go into a relationship, any relationship, but I talk mostly about intimate relationships. So we approach these thinking that we're going to get what it is we want. You know, we want what we want. It's not much different than being a kid at Christmas. You know, you have your list of stuff that you want the way you like it, and that's what you want. So what I have found is that when I talk to people who are particularly married for a little while, or maybe even they haven't been married for 5 years or less, maybe they've just been single for a long time and then they get into a relationship after 1 or 2 years. Hey Terry, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you, girl, for staying up late with me. I know you've heard about this one before anyway. But people, after being single for a while and then they get into a relationship, if you talk to them after the infamous 90 days or so, then the buyer's remorse kicks in, and one of the things that I often hear is, it's not what I thought it was going to be. It's not like I imagined it was. This isn't what I wanted. This isn't the package I bought. I need, I deserve, all of that starts kicking in. And that's because when you were pursuing the relationship, there was something that you wanted, and whatever you saw in that other person, they represented what you wanted. The disconnect happens because all of your wants and expectations are happening between your ears. That other person has nothing to do with that. Nothing. They don't know anything about it. That's your movie. That's your script. You're the director. You're the producer. You're the casting agent. You're the one who put that whole thing together. So when you saw them and they were standing there looking all wonderful and they just looked like your dream come true, whether male or female, this is not gender specific, you are the one who assigned them all the things that you thought you wanted in somebody else. Well, then you actually get into a relationship with that person and you find out that the two of you have two different scripts. You have your idea about what you want, and he has his idea about what he wants. And successful relationships depend on your ability to be able to navigate the differences and maximize the similarities. The problem is, most people's egos won't let them do that. And that's when my phone starts ringing. Why can't these women? Where are all these men, and what's wrong? And all that kind of thing. That's where that comes from. That comes from your expectations not matching the reality, and then you get disappointed and think something's wrong. There's nothing wrong. You were wrong. You were wrong to expect another person to fall into your universe and meet all of your magical expectations. One, that they didn't know anything about. And two, that even if they did know, it was impossible for them to meet him. And as quiet as it's kept, just between you, me, and Facebook Live, if they did meet him, you'd get bored in a hurry and find another hoop for them to jump through. I'm just saying. Because that's how it works when you want stuff. It's like you don't really want it. You just want to want it. Because it makes sense to want it. Maybe it looks good on paper. You know, maybe you're supposed to want somebody who has this kind of job, makes this kind of money, looks this kind of way, presents this sort of facade for you. They make you look good. They make you feel good about looking good, right? The problem with that is that person has a movie too. That person has a script too. That person has a set of expectations too. They have stuff that they want and that they're expecting you to provide. Now, this isn't to say that when you get into a relationship, you shouldn't have any expectations at all. But what you should have are expectations that the other person will show up authentically who they are. That's it. That's all. They're not supposed to make you happy. They're not supposed to unhurt you from your past relationships. They're not supposed to prove you wrong about the toxic relationship history that you have that shaped this negative opinion that you have about everybody else who looks like that now. It's not their function. It's not what they're supposed to do. It's not what they're obligated to do. It's not their responsibility. Your happiness is your job. Now, the good news is when you meet somebody who shows up authentically and who they are as a person matches what you require, not everything you want, what you require in order to build something sustainable, now you've got something you can work with. That you can work with. But if you think you can take somebody who looks the way you want them to look, who presents the way you want them to present, and turn them into what you expected, you will be fighting an uphill losing battle for as long as you're willing to stay there and be miserable. And for some people, that's more important than being in an actual relationship because it feeds your ego. Because in that situation, that is the winning Powerball ticket for the emotionally manipulative. Because they get to be superior and sympathetic at the same time. After all, if your partner is wrong, that means you're right. So if you're right, you're superior. And if you don't have any feeling intrinsically of value or worth or substance, then you get your feelings of power and specialness from your ability to manipulate other people. So if that falls through and you're in a relationship with somebody who really is authentic and who isn't trying to feed your ego, now you've got to show up. You got to put on your grown folks undies and show up. You got to open your heart and love like you've never been hurt before. You got to open your mind and you got to open your spirit to be honest. First with yourself about yourself. Because many times the stories that you tell yourself about yourself aren't even true. But that's a place that too many of us are not willing to go. The problem with that is, if you don't go there, you will never be able to have the intimacy that you say you want. Because the pathway to intimacy is built on honesty. Because honesty is the only way you can build trust. And a lot of people will accommodate a whole lot of stuff if they just know that it needs to be accommodated. Stop fabricating. Stop lying. Stop pretending. Stop sending a representative to create relationships that your reality can't maintain. It's a losing proposition. That's how you end up miserable. Hi, Charlene. Thank you for coming in, sweetie. Pastor Tim, thank you. Pat, oh my gosh. Hey, but I am feeling this clearly. You see how late it is. And where was the last time I got on Facebook Live this late to say anything to anybody? But this kept coming up in my timeline today in different ways. People saying different things about it. Until you understand that anyone else's only obligation to you is to be honest. Not to meet your needs, not to meet your desires, not to make your fantasies come true. That is not what they are there for. They are there to be who they are. The magic of lasting bliss happens when you have two people who do that, who show up authentically, who admit to their weaknesses, and who are willing to acknowledge and maximize their strengths, and to do it with each other. Not over each other, not against each other. It's not a competition. It's a cooperation. It's a collaboration. It's communication. It's connection. Are you seeing a trend? The minute you make it a competition, you have turned your partner into an adversary, and nobody will trust an adversary. Stop trying so hard to be right that you sacrifice your relationship. You can't be right enough to make your partner trust you. If you are willing to throw your partner under the bus in order to be right, don't expect them to be excited about coming back home to you, about opening their heart to you, about sharing their life and their dreams and their fears and their plans and their everything with you. Don't expect it, because it's not going to happen. And it's not going to be some other person's fault, by the way. It's not going to be that person that you trolling for when you go through their phone when they're not looking. That's another Facebook Live. I've already been here 13 minutes. I'm not going to get into that tonight. But if you're checking their emails and going through their telephones and that kind of madness, yeah, you can't do enough of that to make them trust you, to try to get them to act right. That's what's not ever going to happen. If you're depending on someone else to make you feel secure, you will never feel secure. The security isn't in the behavior of your partner. The security is in your ability to handle whatever your partner does in a way that serves you and the relationship. If you can maintain the relationship, you may not be able to maintain the relationship. People have this notion that because they love each other, they should be in a relationship. Newsflash, that's not the truth. You don't need to be in a relationship with everybody you think you love. Every relationship should be loving. Not all love should be in a relationship. Love is unconditional. Relationships are not. Myself as a prime example. There's a whole lot of people I love that I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with. And will always love them. Have loved them for years. Some of them I've loved for a lifetime. But I could never be in a relationship with them. It's not enough of a reason for me to share my life with you just because I love you. It's not enough. If I can't trust you to do what's in the best interest of the relationship when I'm not with you and when I am, then there's nothing for us to build on. I can't build a wall high enough. I can't catch you in enough compromising positions. I can't trap you in enough lies. I can't put up enough hoops for you to jump through that would one day get me to a point where I say, you know what, I think he's done enough acrobatics. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and trust him now. Doesn't happen that way. I have to be ready, willing, and able to deal with whatever happens. Because you know what? Life is going to happen no matter how good your relationship is. It's going to happen. Stuff out of your control is going to come in and try to pull you apart. And if you allow it, it will. Just don't allow it. You don't have to allow it. So that's all I have for tonight. I don't want to keep you too long. It's already late, and I really appreciate you showing up. And if there's something else that you'd like me to talk about later on, just let me know in the comment section somewhere. And have a great rest of your weekend. And we'll talk again soon. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.